Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and on this channel, we've taken a close look at our favorite classes, tracking all of the newest updates and talent tree changes during the development of Dragonflight. And it's safe to say that most, if not all, different playstyles are seeing massive improvements as the game transitions away from the borrowed power system, instead focusing on creating robust talent tree options. Recently, I've been getting messages from you guys asking me which class would I recommend as a potential main going forward, which playstyles so far are looking the strongest. But for now, before any final class tuning, this question is almost impossible to answer, which is why I try to focus on gameplay changes, new utility options, build variety and class improvements instead of focusing on raw damage numbers and output, which will continue to change with every new beta build. So in today's video, I wanted to highlight 5 classes that I think are seeing some of the biggest overall improvements when it comes to considering all forms of endgame content. But right before that, most of you guys watching these videos are still not subscribed. However, the more of you remind, the more of you do. So let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel as well as to the bell if you're watching these videos anyway, especially if you want to get regular updates about the next World of Warcraft expansion of Dragonflight. And the first class on this list that's seen some of the biggest improvements will be the class of Warrior. And I first want to highlight their improved control capabilities, starting with the talent of Wrenching Impact, which buffs the ability of Heroic Leap to pull nearby enemies to your location, giving warriors new displacement capabilities, especially useful in PvP and Mythic Plus dungeon content. We also see the ability of Shockwave make a return in Dragonflight, letting you sunder all foes before you for a handful of seconds. And the combination of grouping up enemies with a leap and then stunning them with Shockwave greatly enhances your ability to establish control, which can be an extremely powerful utility to bring into group situations. We also see adjustments to the ability of Spell Reflection. The ability will still be able to reflect spells back at the sender, but will now come with a separate 20% magic damage reduction buff. But in Shadowlands, both of the effects are combined together, causing you to lose the 20% magic reduction as soon as you reflect an ability. And this change in Dragonflight simply makes the ability far more consistent. Berserker Shout can be modified to encourage nearby allies, causing them to snap out of fear and incapacitation effects, which has some niche uses in PvE and PvP content. The cooldown of Pommel can be shortened with concussive blows, which is a very nice quality of life adjustment, which may seem somewhat insignificant at first. But when it comes to high-end dungeons and rated PvP content, having the interrupt be available a second early can make the difference between a life and a death situation. Bitter Immunity is your own personal cleanse effect, which can be immensely useful on a class with limited healing capabilities. And besides that, both Fury and Arms Warriors can build into a variety of gameplay styles suited for all types of endgame content. And Protection Warriors so far are looking pretty sturdy and are finally able to mitigate magic damage a lot more effectively, which usually ends up being one of its biggest weaknesses. And the next class on this list that's seeing the biggest improvements will be the class of Shaman. First quality of life update is an actual stun through the ability of Lightning Lasso. Lasso is a channeled spell that locks down your target while continuing to zap them periodically. Also, every shaman gets access to Thunderstorm, a powerful knockback effect that's extremely useful in dungeon content, certain raids, and rated PvP. You gain improved mobility with the Spirit Walk, which allows you to sprint forward while clearing all movement impairing effects, or swap to Gust of Wind to leap forward, which has incredible situational uses. Then we have the totems. Mana Spring helps recover mana for healers. Stone Skin Totem provides a defense buff to your allies. Tranquil Air makes it easier for casters to deal with interrupts in combat. And Poison Cleanse helps detox your nearby party members. Now, some of these totems may be niche and gain benefits in specific situations, but all of them add unique group components that no other class simply can bring, easily making shamans stand out from other classes. Besides this, enhancement and elemental talents are full of unique and exciting synergies, capable of adapting to a vast majority of combat situations. Restoration Shaman gains passive damage, which is useful when it comes to endgame content, while maintaining a lot of the familiar tools they've gathered over the last few expansions. The class of Druid gains access to powerful utility, from Heart of the Wild, Nature's Vigil, and Innervate. These tools make him the perfect hybrid class, capable of adjusting to groups' needs in all types of situations. The spec of Feral Druid has seen some of the biggest drastic changes so far in Dragonflight, starting with talents that support better energy regeneration and a smoother common point building experience, as well as talent options that promote a healthy AoE output, with all of these updates focused on giving Feral Druids a refreshing gameplay experience. Restoration Druids gain access to most tools found from previous expansions, but can now better define their gameplay focus. Healing will be your primary role, but you can now better specialize into hybrid playstyles, like embracing more elements of the Feral Druid, greatly improving your overall output. Guardian Druids are also able to hybridize themselves with the power of Elune, gaining damage, healing, and survivability through the Arcane, while retaining a lot of the familiar defensive tools that help keep them sturdy. Then we have Balance Druids, which recently have received a ton of new changes, mostly focused on amplifying their sustained damage, better AoE capabilities, as well as even more talent build variety. Then we have the class of Mage, who gain access to an incredible amount of crowd control benefits. As a mage, you'll still hold on to familiar abilities like Polymorph at your disposal, along with a handful of other crowd control benefits, like the ability of Mass Polymorph, because polymorphing one target simply wasn't enough. The ability of Slow, which can be upgraded into a Mass Slow, hindering the movement of all nearby foes. The ability of Ice Nova to freeze multiple foes in place from a distance. The ability of Blast Wave, which sends enemies flying backwards. A small upgrade to the ability of Cone of Cold, which adds a bonus rooting effect as well as a powerful disabling bonus. Finally, we have the Fire Mage ability of Fire Breath, which helps disorient all targets in front of you. Also, simply playing your mage helps reduce the cooldown of all crowd control abilities, which sounds like an absolute nightmare for anyone encountering mages within PvP. Besides these updates, all three specs of Frost, Fire, and Arcane have incorporated a lot of the gameplay elements of the last few expansions into their spec talent trees, which opens up every mage to a wide variety of playstyles, capable of adapting to almost all combat situations. Finally, we have the class of Rogue, and for the first time in a very long while, rogues have finally gained some form of raid utility. The ability of Atrophic Poison weakens your foes, causing their damage to be 3% less effective. And at first glance, it may not seem like much, but this poison does compete with other raid buff effects. Similar to the Paladin Devotion Aura, which is a mandatory buff most guilds will bring into raid progression, causes all allies to take 3% less damage in all encounters. Atrophic Poison is the debuff version of a similar effect and should be stackable with all of the other raid buff and debuffs. This means that rogues may be mandatory inside of raid progression, which greatly enhances this class's group value as well as raid viability when it comes to endgame content. Besides this, rogues also expand their control toolkit, with Gouge no longer locked behind the spec of Outlaw, and the ability of Shadow Dance no longer locked exclusively to Subtlety. Both Assassination and Outlaw expand their AoE potential and gain new gameplay talents, which could open up some more Mythic Plus opportunities. The spec of Subtlety gains even more skill cap potential, while promoting even more playstyles that are less cooldown reliant. And for now, that's gonna be the full list of classes that in my opinion are seeing some of the biggest gameplay improvements so far over on the Dragonflight beta. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the list of classes that we featured in today's video? Are you considering any of these playstyle options as a potential main heading into the next expansion? And what other classes seen major improvements that you think should have been featured in today's video? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. As per always, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single video and a live stream, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video update or discuss these recent class changes with the rest of the channel community. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.